Listen to the wind in the junipers and the tales of the shifting, whispering sands.
I do these podcasts to show all who will pay attention how any ordinary citizen can stand against tyrannical government and avoid financial strangulation, using only what he has, even if he doesn't have much. It's my intention to encourage by information and example what can be done in the law, science, or finance by ordinary citizens to retain their God-given rights. I've had several opportunities in my life to be made rich, but I've rejected some of them because of a determination to never be bought by compromising principles for money. Some would say nothing has been or can be gained by resistance to oppression, but they've not understood the greater reward for patriotic and caring service to fellow men. Any citizen can do something. It will try anyone who resists, but it's very rewarding and not that hard with a measure of courage, determination, and commitment. Every citizen of the United States can use its constitutional power and protection to stand up against strangulation by the fascist, oligarchical attempted takeover of the United States and the entire world. It is an emergency, but not one to be fixed by a tyrannical executive branch of the United States government or by a president who ignores the law and the Constitution. Knowledge dispels fear. Become aware of the enemy and grow bold and fearless in defense of freedom. In the New Testament it says, quote, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. That's in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. In the pandemic crisis of 2020 and beyond, the frustrations of the American people are magnified by deep feelings of helplessness. Such helplessness stems from the lack of knowledge, understanding, and the ability to freely exercise citizens' rights and responsibility. The United States Constitution was written to protect citizens from tyrannical government and the oligarchs that use their wealth and power to control and dictate the behavior of all of the citizens of the world. Their sinister designs are supported by lies and deception, using power and control of the mainstream media to adjust the thinking of ordinary citizens. Ordinary people must fear the wizard, or control cannot be accomplished. When the United States was first formed, a free system of government was established by inspired forefathers who foresaw the inevitable evil intentions of kings and greedy, power-hungry men. Governments, by their nature, have historically become tyrannical, and they still do. The natural man is the enemy of God. When men or women are given even a small amount of authority, they will, by their nature, begin in small steps to exercise unrighteous dominion over the lives of the ones they perceive themselves as having authority over. Let me show you this video of how financial control was established in the United States beginning in 1913.
In 1913, the richest people in the United States, and probably the world, secretly met at Jekyll Island, Georgia, and devised the Federal Reserve Act. The U.S. presidential election was manipulated by diluting votes to a third party, and Woodrow Wilson was elected. He signed the act into law, and then declared that control of the nation was in the hands of a few rich oligarchs, and there was nothing Americans could do about it. Suffering from the Depression of 1929 to 1935, President Franklin D. Roosevelt made a new deal to borrow from the oligarchs to save the nation's economy in exchange for an income tax on the citizens to pay the debt.
There was no income tax withholding in the U.S. before 1935.
The beginning of constitutional rights being sold for money. The system of credit was established, and debt became the new norm.
After World War II, the nation became pacified in their comfortable economy and constitutional rights were ignored.
In 1971, Nixon removed gold as the backing for the U.S. dollar, making U.S. money backed only by a printing press that was controlled by the oligarchs. The people were becoming oppressed by IRS collection practices. The Constitution was pulled back to the front by bold and free-thinking citizens. Today, the national debt is a joke. There is no way for it to be paid by taxing the citizens. Only the Constitution of the United States stands in the way of a new world order controlled by the G7, world oligarchs, and the World Bank. We must pay the price to save it. What can ordinary citizens do about it?
The perceived authority that is assumed by the oligarchs is magnified even beyond any government. They rule with blood and horror by creating wars in the process of taking control of all the souls of the world, supported by a self-righteous, rationalized conscience and a determination to control all people. Ignoring the Constitution, they perceive their intentions to be good, but they confiscate for themselves a power that is not rightfully theirs, a God-given power that belongs only in the hearts and minds of individual humans everywhere. Sam Ervin, special counsel in the Watergate investigation, said this, quote, "The Constitution was made to guard the people against the dangers of good intentions. There are men of all ages who mean to govern. They promise to be good masters, but they mean to be masters." End of quote. Citizens beware. Even Hitler had good intentions. Bitcoin has the potential of fixing this. Self-custody of one's wealth is made possible now in the digital world for each individual in the entire world to take control of his own money without the interference of oligarchical banks and governments. Bitcoin, although it may make you rich, is primarily for the avoidance of financial corruption and for protection against despotism. I'm Mike Pickett. Stay righteous, well-informed, and sleep peacefully tonight, knowing that your savings are in your own custody.
Listen to the wind in the junipers and the tales of the shifting, whispering sands.